Alright, so a closer look at replacing the power center, including 3 components: the charger converter at the bottom down here, the DC fuse panel right here, and the AC breakers panel right here, which is empty because I pulled the breakers out already. But before you do that, you want to label them, right? You want to have a labeling system. So those numbers 1 and 2 correspond to my DAC section. For 1, a wire going to the fridge, and then 2 is for the outlets. For each one of those AC connections, you'll have a white sheathed wire that you'll want to put to the neutral bus bar here on the side. You'll want to make sure you know which bus bar you're using, because in my new converter, the wfco WF8935, they're in opposite positions. The original one I had was a Magnetek. It's an original for my 96 Ford. I found out what the problem was. I have electrical issues, shortening, burning out fans, popping breakers, fuses. So they had what should be a dedicated breaker, should be you should have a main breaker in, power in to your AC portion here that's by itself. It shouldn't have a dual, a tandem like this. This is more for like just to add on extra stuff. Not only that, on that freaking breaker, on that 20 amp breaker was 15 amp breaker. Don't switch it on like I just did. But I got the coach turned off. This 15 had 2 devices going to it, which was the issue. So it had 1 and 5. It had the converter. You need to have a dedicated breaker just for the 15 amp. So that was the issue. It was tied in with the fridge, which I was getting all kinds of weird lighting issues on the monitoring panel, flickering at times. At times it would kick on the igniter for the propane to start it while I'm plugged into Sure Power. It's the opposite location. So while it looks like these clear sheathed solid brass wires go to the top bus bar, and white sheath wires are going to this side one on the side, this bus bar. This is the ground, and in the new one along the top is the neutral. So I had to confirm that. I was like, wait a minute. So they're all different, the actual units. So good to double check that. So while in general theory you want to put the wires back in the same places, you want to double check. Also, I saw that previously had a 20 amp breaker, the outlets. It was a 20 amp breaker, should have been a 15 amp breaker. So you'll see also the fuse is different, the panel, different position as well, vertically like this, but at least it has positive and it has my negative. So I know that my positive is gonna go into there and terminate under that big lug. I'll need to re-terminate this with a ferrule ending, just basically like a piece of metal that you crimp down on from all angles, 5 different ways that it presses down on, and it's just cylindrical, and it slides right in under that lug, and I can tighten it down. So that's the positive, and the negative, big negative. Actually, I replaced this with an even thicker negative that I will have to pull in from underneath the vehicle. I ran the wire on another day in here. They'll come in from different holes over here, and I'll route them up to the top there. Be sure of that. I'm just unscrewing these breakers one at a time. Now that I have everything labeled, I can really speed up. The whole unit's coming out, so the frame bolts here, fasteners on the end, I've already loosened them up. This one, I didn't really need to, but I took my torch and I took a crayon to it as it was tight. I was like, oh yeah, there it is, I'm gonna get it. 32 amp power center. So I replaced that. That's the converter portion. So I upgraded. As long as I get a 32 amp, I actually got a 35 amp. In the new wfco, WF8935 is the model. So it's tried to cut it out. I finally breached the back end of this, so I'm just about to pull it out. I left it in place. Component of these power centers, you have a fuse for each. I've got each wire labeled, and it'll go right into the new one in the same fashion right there. And just switch over these fuses to the right positions to pull this out and do the actual swap with the new one. Before I do that, let's talk a little bit about this new one. Converter already looks like, whoa, it's like a heat sink right up top. It's got the fan right there. It's got a lot of open space in these grates to allow for air to flow. You'll also see those big power cords, like the negative. I got a multi-tool, and 5 minutes later I'm done. I was fucking struggling. I had a headache by then, and I'm fucking because I'm not really eating while I'm working, and because this shit was so intense, I didn't want to spend a minute away from it with all the wiring. It's the first time I've done anything this complicated with electrical, but it's definitely doable. And there was a video online that helped me, showed me, motherfucker, god damn, showed me how to do this with a similar wfco product, but his was a 60 amp. You need to have a dedicated breaker for the converter on the bottom. That's why this is here on the new one, on the new wfco, on the AC side, to go to its own breaker. All right, motherfuckers had the breaker and some other shit, some other devices wired together on one little breaker, and they also violated like another rule, which is kind of like the main 30 amp breaker. You don't tie anything else on that same pole, so that needs to be on a separate pole as well. That, along with the undergauge wire, all kind of led to being like getting an undercurrent, and with that you can have issues with that I was experiencing. Blew up some of the previous fans that the previous owner had installed. They put in some voltage regulators to deal with the issue. I think I finally figured out the problem, and proud of myself, because the guy that was working on this, a neighbor of my parents, said that he had spent, decades doing electrical and small engine equipment in RVs, worked for an RV place, and I'm looking here at his shit job, and I'm like, pfft. And my parents are paying him good money as a neighbor, as a friend, but it's like, that's fucking Florida for you, down there in that swamp, man. Whew. They are, no, it's like an upper middle class neighborhood. They're lost in the sauce. They think they're all fucking disgusting white supremacists. So it all comes full circle to know how to navigate the world when people so close to you that say they love you probably only love you because you look like them, which is fucking sad. And it just shows you how childish they are. They need their hands held to show them the true history of the horror of this country in the past. That's how everything comes full circle here with Motorhome Marks. Well, I thought I was done, and have a little bit more here. I had to pull up the top here to get behind it to release some of these cable tie downs, clips and such. Now I've got it ready. I took some more photos while it was sitting here just to see where the holes generally go from, and those main wires, making sure I'm getting that correctly. 2 green wires. Want to make sure that one goes to the AC and that one goes to the DC. Yeah, because they're right next to one another. All right, so then looking here and finally got it out. Had to cut some more. Man, that's mangled. I want to make note here that a couple of the wires that you may label in the beginning, number 5, going on the AC side, is for the converter. Obviously, the new one's going to come with its own 5, so I went ahead and did the 5. And it has its own neutral as well. The newer converter, newer technology, 96 is when they built this Magnetek. This wfco product, it's maybe a 10-year-old product or so. But current technologies and such with the multi-stage, so I can use lithium. Anyways, instead of just having one ground, a neutral, it also has a green ground, a true ground. So maybe I have that reversed. So I've got the new one in, and the biggest thing you want to worry about just putting it through is these wire labels, making sure they don't get cut up, slide them through these different holes. All the wires are fucking different sizes, different lengths, so you're just taking a second to kind of make sure you slide those through gently and avoid that. And I think I have, which is good, because you lose your labels, fucking, it's a lot of extra work. So look at that, cut through the floor a little bit to kind of get the other one out. Got this new one in. It weighs about a fraction of the weight. This is all metal, solid. So this plastic one's going to be a lot lighter. And that's right, each breaker gets a positive, and it gets 2 different grounds. It gets the neutral, green ground, or neutral and a ground. So there'll be one wire going to the screw down here on each one of these. If you look over here, that one screw down for the main is going to take the main 30 amp, and I have that labeled as M or something. Second here, just to show you how it gets started. I've with wiring, the first thing I'm going to terminate and fasten down is my main AC to the first breaker position for the 30 amp breaker by itself. I'm not going to use this tandem. No, it's not the way it goes. The green one right here is the one going down there to the converter as well for the ground bus bar. And I have the main green ground here going to this ground terminated and tied down. Now, as I fasten them down, I like to use the square nut driver and a number 2. And you give it a good pull once you think you got it down good. After you give it a good pull, good, jiggle, go ahead and tighten down again. You might get a little bit more. You'd be surprised. And that's important, especially for these main connection lines, to be really tied down. You get a lot of vibrations and such. So the rest of these breakers, the AC side, they're already labeled. I can just go down the line and run them through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got five breakers with the one main. All right. Oh, I did it. That's the old converter. That's a new one. And everything's working. I got the generator running. And this thing should be kicking on soon. It's so quiet, it's probably on, actually. Let me check that. This thing, yeah, it's already, the fan's running. Man, it feels good. So worried about making sure I get the wiring right and make sure I'm not going to short anything out or blow my system and not know how to fix it, fry this fucking device. It's like a $500 project, $600 between, having to buy cutting devices, torches, I mean, I didn't have the right tools to do a job like this. But you go to an RV tech, and something like this could be $1,000 plus, easy. Even with the part, they'll fucking gouge you. $250 an hour, $300 an hour for their work. So Yeah, I'll take 2 days off and fucking, I'll spend my time, fuckers. But, you know, system where we're all starving and want us to fight one another. We're all just working. So props to all the pros, and make sure not to scalp us too hard on the cost of doing your work. I know you're working hard. I'm trying to learn, working extra hard. Yeah, I gotta fasten this down so it doesn't shake around in here. And that's it. I'm done. Oh.